Okay, hello everyone. Um, Welcome to my talk, where I will explore alternatives to MiCA. I hope that you attended yesterday our regulatory panel, where we talked about positive aspects of MiCA, and my esteemed colleague Oliver Zrno, I believe it's his name, talked about issues with service providing under MiCA regulation. So building on those two talks, and I will present some downsides of MiCA and potential alternatives to it. So this is our content for today. So brief intro on MiCA and two potential alternatives which I deem fit, but of course by no means they are definitive or that they are the only solutions for your project if you decide to move out of Europe or to establish your project elsewhere. Of course, nothing of this is legal advice, so don't take all of these things for granted, because there are a lot of ifs and depends, typical lawyer intro and answers. So I'm Ilija Rilakovic, attorney at law from Serbia. I'm one of the EAT Belgrade organizers, and should you have any questions around that conference, I'll be here after the talk, so just ask me whatever you want. I'm also a runner, and when I don't chase clients, I chase my personal best records on various races. And I like cooking, but don't ask me to prepare any sweets for you, because I don't know how to do that properly. So on MiCA, it is comprehensive regulatory framework. It was at the forefront of the global regulations, and it should harmonize European market. So again, MiCA stands for Markets in Crypto Assets. It's regulation, and unlike directives, regulation is directly applicable to all EU member states. It provides definitions of key terms, rules and requirements for issuing e-money tokens, such as USDT or Euro or euro, something that Circle did recently. Asset reference tokens, so tokens that are tied or pegged to some real-world asset, and other tokens, which are basically utility tokens. It also has rules on how to obtain license for crypto asset service providing business, such as OKX and other centralized exchanges, Bitpanda, just to name a few of them. And then typically prevention of market abuse, standard provisions, and who are regulators and what are fines for non-compliance. Besides that, MiCA started with application mid-June mid-2024 concerning e-money tokens, and in full application since the end of 2024. So MiCA, yes, it's good and comprehensive, but as the meme goes, there are some uncertainties. So uncertainties about NFTs, because at the face value, NFTs are excluded from MiCA, but there is that NFTs still can be tackled by MiCA if they are in large collection and they are not distinctive enough, but who really cares today about NFTs? Then DeFi protocols, they are not directly regulated by MiCA, and that's in a preface of MiCA, but If you are developers or front-end providers, you still can be liable under MiCA because you provide access to blockchain assets. So it can constitute a service under MiCA. For example, you provide a website for Uniswap. Uniswap is DeFi, it's decentralized, but your company is the one that maintains and provides access to Uniswap protocol through website. It's at a high bar for stablecoins. This might be a problem, but it does not tackle the broader audience. But still, just look what happened to USDT. Then I think this is the really big issue for European startups, because compliance costs for startups can be really high, especially if your startup falls into one of services that are required to have license under MiCA. We discussed this yesterday at our panel. Maybe this panel will be available after the conference to have a look at it as well. Another big issue is overlap with other regulations and directives in Europe, especially when it comes to AML, when it comes to transfer of fund regulations, Digital Operation Resilience Act, and GDPR. Last one is a very hot topic last few weeks. You'll see in a minute why. Probably you have heard about it. Security tokens, another issue. So if you want to issue tokens as a security, then you have overlap with MiFID. MiFID rules, which govern financial instruments and financial markets. So potentially those two pieces of legislation, MiCA and MiFID, can create dual regime and will be more difficult for you to comply with everything that you have to take care of. Finally, non-European projects that want to cover European market face one limitation, which is legitimate, but there is a lot of uncertainties on how it will apply, and that's reverse solicitation. So if you are non-EU project who is on this conference, maybe you have booth or deliver a presentation, you might be required to comply with reverse solicitation. It should be exemption, but it still can be liability for you, because if you are out of the EU project and you cannot offer your services to European markets, so you cannot solicit clients, but European clients, but you have to wait for them to come to you and ask you for that service. So if you are at this conference, having booth or giving presentation about your project, that is considered as active solicitation and might be a problem for you. To sum up what I've previously explained, so MiCA promised to level the playing field. And there are two analyses presented by Nikola, who is head of Electrocoin from Croatia, that according to his analysis, most of licensed companies under MiCA until now are basically non-European companies. Of course, they have subsidiaries in Europe, but capital is either American or Chinese or Asian or something else. And it expands analysis that Patrick Hansen from Circle made, and he reflects on Europe's ability to compete with other jurisdictions, other markets, because of its regulations who tend to be burdensome. This should be unbelievable, but it doesn't work, so okay. This is on GDPR, so another big issue that is happening these days is that competent authority of European Union issued a guidelines that says that nodes could be considered as data controllers, thus having to comply with GDPR. So you as a user under GDPR can ask data processor or data controllers to remove your data. So like asking Facebook or other social platform to delete your data. How do you delete data from a blockchain? This is something that the authority didn't had in mind, probably because ultimately, as it goes, this may require deleting the whole blockchain. How this is competitive and how this is feasible. Can you delete a blockchain? I don't know. If you want to be always up to date, follow European Crypto Initiative. They do a really good job on covering all legal aspects of European blockchain Web3 regulations. So, if not Europe, then what? There are, according, in my opinion, there are two potential solutions. Of course, there are some pros and cons, of course, but still, from what I've seen in practice in working with clients, Panama seems as a good alternative because of its ease of incorporation of any entity, be it foundation or LLC. It has good privacy protection. You can maintain private, invisible, like ultimate beneficial owner, and asset protection is solid. In Panama, they don't have corporate tax for foreign source income. So basically, only income that you derive from Panama is taxable in Panama. And since Web3 projects by design are global, probably you will not be taxed in Panama, which is a huge plus. Besides, there is small overhead, which is annual franchise tax. It's basically a fee that you pay to maintain your company active, but it's not substantial. I think it's around $300. Of course, subject to change, but certainly not a big expense for your company. When it comes to Web3, there are no specific regulatory frameworks for Web3, so be it virtual asset service providing business or tokens or any other crypto-related activities. And it is not, even though it's not regulated, stance of Panamanian authorities is positive towards crypto, so it's welcoming to many crypto projects, and even though they are not regulated, they are legal according to current state of affairs. And crypto assets are exempted from regulatory overview of Panamanian regulators, which is confirmed in several rulings or ruling opinions of their authorities, which is still a good thing. And they are not cryptocurrencies, crypto assets are not classified as legal tender securities or regulated activities, so a lot of banking or AML regulations are not applied to your project if you work with crypto assets. As I said, you will be probably exempted from many requirements that present Panamanian framework has for financial investment or security businesses. And of course, AML requirements. It doesn't mean that you do not have to comply with AML, because even though local, such as Panama, local regulation does not require you to have AML procedures, on a higher level, so think about that as something like this. So the bottom, it's local regulation, but if you go higher, international regulations and international bodies might require you, or it would be good because of them to have some procedures that try to fend off money laundering businesses or money laundering activities. After Panama, as a Serbian-based lawyer, Serbia is, I would say, not well known for its Web3 businesses, apart from Jokic and Djokovic. So few general things about Serbian framework. It's not EU country, so there are no MiCA requirements. It will soon, actually, it is member of SEPA network, and it will be operational next year, so it makes easier to send euro transactions across the border. Serbia has Serbian dinar as a currency. Again, it's easy to incorporate company in Serbia. Within 7 business days, you can have operational LLC with tax ID number and bank account. Costs are not high for set up a business, and it's good for startups because there are a lot of incubators and programs, tax breaks that support startups. As I said, banks are accessible, and their e-banking services are fairly good. You don't need local agent like in other jurisdictions, or director or employees. So for your company as a non-Serbian person, you can be both shareholder and director, so you don't have to involve any Serbian persons into your company as in management bodies or shareholding. No annual franchise tax. Corporate income tax is moderate, 15%. VAT is 20%, but doesn't mean that you have to pay VAT on every transaction. Of course, it depends. On export services, there is no VAT. Very positive thing is strong developer pool, especially for a blockchain, and designers, product designers, marketeers, growing communities, both in Ethereum and Solana. You probably heard about Tenderly, DeFi Saver, Streamflow, or Solflare. They're biggest Serbian projects. Of course, flagship conference is ETH Belgrade, so hope to see you next week in Belgrade. When it comes to Serbian Web3 or crypto regulations, it is regulated. So cryptocurrency and tokens are legal and legitimate class of assets. We have law that governs it. Token issuance is fairly simple, especially for securities like tokens. So I know that all the tokens are utility tokens. No token is security, right? In Serbia, you can easily issue security token with small overheads, relatively small expenses, and get it approved by Serbian SEC. It's basically check the box procedure for your white paper, where SEC checks if your white paper has all the elements it should. So they will not dive into details of your tokenomics, your business, and so on and so forth. They just check if white paper has all the elements it has to have, and it's exempted from capital market regulations up to 3 million euros. So it's fairly good, especially for smaller businesses or small projects. As I said, a white paper approval is not mandatory. It is mandatory if you want to advertise it in Serbia. So still very good threat of Serbian requirements. And even if you decide to push for approval, expense is not that high, around 700 euro. Serbian SEC is very friendly and open to projects that want to issue tokens. So if you have any questions or dilemmas, you can set up a meeting with Serbian SEC and discuss those questions, get some clear answers before you dive into the whole procedure of token issuance. So far, projects in Serbia tokenized solar park in agriculture, walnut and hazelnut fields, which is quite interesting to me, factoring business, and a pilot project tokenized some premium wine bottles, and that's actually a utility token. Unlike those that I mentioned, they issued tokens as a bond, so basically security. There is draft of law which is fortunately on hold that should have enabled tokenization of shares in limited liability company, and I hope that it will be passed through our parliament, because it will enable real world asset tokenization. Because with tokens that represent shares into a company, you really have a say. So you can vote in a shareholder assembly and have real legal effect. That's it. These are my contacts, and I think we have a few minutes for questions, maybe?
5 minutes. So, thank you. Do we have some questions?
Evgeny.
Thanks, Ilija. Djokovic is great, as well as Jokic. Do you see the risk that, because Serbia is so closely connected to the European Union, do you see a risk that because Serbia is so closely connected to the European Union and it might be looking towards joining, that once established, a few years down the line, the Serbian regulation may just adopt MiCA or whatever is going to exist at that point of time, creating a double effort for the companies?
Good question. I think that that's still very remote risk, because I think that Serbia is not close to the European Union as we should. So back to your question, I don't think that's a risk 5 to 10 years, to be honest. I don't think that we will be on a speed track for EU accession, although we follow accession process for, I think, 15 years, and we have not made it very far. So I wouldn't say that's a big risk for now.
Any more questions?
What about other countries that are a bit more, I mean, famous probably in this sense, like UAE and Switzerland?
So my exposure was and experiences were closest to Serbia and Panama. As for Switzerland, I think that compliance costs are quite high. That's the concern I have. Other things I don't see as a problem. Legal certainty, general Swiss system is very stable. For the UAE, I'm not sure. What I've heard is that although you can easily set up a company, it could be challenging to open a bank account. Maybe it's not a big problem if you work only with crypto, but somehow you have to be connected with traditional businesses. So that's what I've heard. I cannot say that it's entirely accurate. So, and as I said at the beginning, this is not definitive list. It's just some ideas. So there are, of course, BVI, Hong Kong, and other tax havens. Salvador. Interesting. We can chat about that later. I don't know much about Salvador. Any other questions?
Still have 3 more minutes, so I'm gonna ask, like, how do you see Serbian future, like you personally?
Sorry?
Is it positive, like the future of Serbia in this kind of topic?
Well, I would like to end it on a positive note and say that I hope that Serbian Web3 will continue thriving and that we will have more companies such as Tenderly or DeFi Saver. And with our conference, we're trying to spread the word and make Serbia more appealing to international projects.
Okay, one more question.
Zdravo, Ilija.
Zdravo.
Just a quick question. So you're here now explaining, let's say, moving away from MiCA regulated markets to get some products or companies that are developed. I think the entire push of the MiCA is to kind of push crypto more towards the retail, more to expand the base. So anything that's developed in Serbia or Panama or UAE, Salvador, whatever it's been, it will need to be kind of MiCA compliant before it was offered. And then whatever you do in Serbia to offer it to an EU product base or consumer base, you need to be MiCA reliant. So my question is more, would it from an investment purpose be more to be MiCA compliant, whether in Serbia or Salvador, never, so that when the product is offered is MiCA compliant, than to go away with it? So I don't think that MiCA is going away, even in Serbia or something like that.
Of course. So my idea was to, although I haven't said it, it's, if we talk about startups, it's easier to start somewhere where compliance is not that expensive. And when you grow your business enough, you, of course, can relatively easy, set up a business in Europe and expand your and scale your business and be more appealing for next rounds of investment rounds.
Thank you. So this was Ilija Rilakovic.
Thank you.